Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Talk with Sports with Jake. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you all had a nice weekend. We'll start with some baseball scores. You have the Red Sox beat the Tigers 6-3. They trying to hang around the wild card race. Twins beat the Phillies 3-0. 6 scores, I think, just 3 hits for Sonny Gray, who struck out 7. You had Washington Nationals beat the Athletics 8-7. Pirates Reds had a doubleheader. Pirates took the first one 4-2. Reds took the second one 6-5 in extra innings and 10 innings. Blue Jays over the Cubs 11-4. He didn't ride his first win of the season. He came back recently from Tommy John surgery he had last year. Guardians beat the Rays 9-2. Marlins beat the Yankees 8-7. Yankees were up 7-3 in the 9th inning, and Clay Holmes came in and he absolutely blew it. He gave up 4 runs, and then they took him out, put in somebody else, and then they ended up giving up it was charged to Holmes, all 5 are charged to Holmes, but whoever the Yankees put in after him, Canely or whoever the heck they put in, gave up the walk-off hit. So Miami gets 5 in the 9th inning off the Yankees bullpen to win 8-7. Yankees struggles continue. They have 2 games over 500. Miami stays right there in the wild card race. Angels over the Astros 2-1. Brewers over the White Sox 7-3. Carlos Santana had a 3-run homer in that one. Giants over the Texas Rangers 3-2 in 10 innings. Logan Webb pitched him into the 9th inning in that one. Walk-off 2-run shot for Patrick Bailey in the 10th inning. Orioles over the Mariners 5-3 in 10 innings. That was a crazy game. Cedric Mullins had a big home run robbery in the 9th inning. The next batter, Dominic Canzone, had a home run to tie the game, but in extra innings, Orioles got a 2-run shot from Cedric Mullins. So big game for Cedric Mullins in the end there. Baltimore wins. Dodgers over the Rockies 8-3. Dodgers have won 8 in a row. They're rolling right now. Diamondbacks over the Padres 5-4. Padres have been struggling. Now starting once again 4 out of the race a little bit. Then you have the Reds. Let's talk about the Reds over the Pirates 6-5. And then the Mets beat the Braves 7-6. They don't get swept up for scoring 3 runs in the first 3 games. Braves outscored the Mets 34-3. The first 2 games of that series, including one game, the Braves won 21-3. The Mets were able to grab the last one 7-6. Looking at the standings, we got the American League East. Baltimore Orioles lead the Tampa Bay Rays by 3 games. Baltimore's at 73-45. Tampa's at 71-49. You get Toronto at 66-54 in third. And the Red Sox and Yankees round out that division. American League Central, Minnesota leads Cleveland by 4.5 games. Detroit's 8 back. Minnesota 62-58, but the division is awful, so they are in first place. 4.5 game leads by only being 4 games over 500. American League West, Texas leads the Houston Nationals by 2.5 games. The American League West are at 70-48. Houston's at 68-51. Seattle is 63-54. They're at 6.5 back in the division. National League East Braves lead the Philadelphia by 11 games. They're at 75-42. Best record in the major leagues. Phillies 65-54 are second, and Miami 62-57 is in third, and the Mets and Washington round out that division. Mets are only a half game better than Washington right now. I read something. The Nationals, because of the new rule, they cannot pick higher than 10th. So even if the Mets finish with a better record than Nationals, I think they would still probably pick ahead of them. National League Central. Milwaukee leaves the Cubs and the Reds by 3.5 games. Milwaukee at 65-54. Been playing really well. Pirates and the Cardinals round out the National League Central. And then the National League West, Dodgers leave the Giants by 8.5 games. They are pulling away. Then Arizona, San Diego, and Colorado round out the National League West. In the wild card standings, we got Tampa Bay still the first wild card American League. They got a 5-game lead for that. They're 2.5 games ahead of Houston, who is the second spot. Houston's 2.5 games ahead of Toronto, who's the last playoff spot. We're now in the American League. Seattle is a game and a half out. Boston's 3 games out. The Yankees are 5 games out. National League wildcard race, not Toronto. Philadelphia is the first wildcard National League. They're a game and a half ahead of San Francisco for that first spot. San Francisco's a game and a half ahead of Miami, who right now has sole possession of the last wildcard spot. Cubs and Cincinnati are a half game back. Arizona is 2.5 back, and San Diego is 5.5 back. Kevin Brown came back, I think on Friday or so. he said it was a big misunderstanding. He's happy with the O's. I don't know if I believe that. I'm not sure if the Orioles told him to say that or not, but thankfully he's back. That was awful. He was taken off the air for literally stating the truth. He read off of a graphic. He read off a graphic that the producer okayed to put on the screen. What else do you want him to do? He's a freaking announcer. I'm hearing that the Milwaukee Brewers are trying to renovate their stadium at Miller Park, but if they cannot get the funds to do so, they could try to relocate. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Jose Ramirez, the Guardians starter baseman who was originally suspended 6 games for his role in the brawl where he basically knocked out Tim Anderson. He originally got 6 games. He appealed. The suspension was reduced to 2 games. And there's one thing, I'm not going to go too deep into it because we don't know all the information, but Wander Franco he's the Rays shortstop. He was one of the best young players in all of baseball. Was the number 1 prospect in all of baseball a couple of years ago, signed a $200 million contract a year or 2 ago. He was placed on the restricted list and he's being investigated by MLB. There are some images that resurfaced on Instagram. It's him with a girl who is clearly significantly younger than him. I'm hearing she's around 14 years old. Wander Franco is married with children. I hope to God that the worst case scenario in this does not come to fruition. So I'm not going to speculate too much. Yeah, this is one of the things you gotta have all the information before you start, making assumptions. But I hope this isn't true. If so, Wander Franco should never play in Major League Baseball again. But that's a situation that's ongoing in MLB. But he's on the restricted list. He's away from the Rays team. MLB is investigating. Boston Bruins longtime center David Craigie just retired. Played for them for a long time. Had like a year or 2. He didn't play for them. We went back overseas, and then he played for them this past season. He had a nice little career. He had 786 career points in 1,032 career games. That includes the Stanley Cup. He is officially announced retirement. So Boston lost a bunch of pieces this offseason. They trade Taylor Hall and Andrew Cogliano, I think it was, or no, maybe Nick Foligno, to Chicago for a draft pick and a couple of prospects. They did not re-sign Tyler Bertuzzi, who's a big trade deadline pickup last season. Now Patrice Bergeron, who's their captain, and the future Hall of Famer, he just retired. And now David Craigie, who's been there for a long time, still a solid player, he also retired. So, and then the only guys they picked up were James Van Riemsdyk, Kevin Shattenkirk, and then 1 or 2 other depth players. So Boston could be in for some regression for this upcoming season. This year they had the most wins in the NHL season ever, the most points in the NHL season ever, President's Trophy, but lost in the first round to the Florida Panthers. So, of course, Cinderella run to the Stanley Cup final. The NBA, you had Christian Wood. I'm hearing could join the Miami Heat depending on what happens in the Dame trade. I'm very surprised Christian Wood is still a free agent. Very good player. He's a big man. He was in Dallas last year. Had a very good season. He's been very good the last couple of years. Very underrated. I really think he's just waiting on what happens with the Damian Lillard thing to Miami. If after the trade, if he thinks it's a good fit for him, he'll get significant playing time there. Depending on who Miami gives up to get Damian Lillard, he'll probably sign there. If not, he'll look somewhere else. But I really think he really wants to play for Miami. He's holding out and just seeing what happens. You got and the only NBA thing I got is the Philadelphia 76ers announced that they are not going to trade James Harden, and they're going to try to bring him back during training camp. Of course, he exercised his player option worth $35.6 million. He opted into the last year of that contract, but he wanted a long-term extension. And Sixers President of Basketball Operations, Daryl Morey, said, no, we're not giving you an extension. And then Harden said, well, you either got to extend me or trade me. So they had some talks, mainly with the Los Angeles Clippers, which is Harden's preferred destination. Maybe because he gets to play with Russell Westbrook again, who's over there. Of course, Kawhi and Paul George, when healthy, are over there as well. But
didn't make a lot of progress. So they decided not to trade him. But he's still not reporting to training it, and he came out and just made a statement. He called Daryl Morey a liar, and he will say he will never participate in an organization that he's a part of. I'm tired of hearing about these two. They are so annoying. Like 4 years now, two different teams. They're going back and forth. They are so annoying. Harden's a great player. He's had a great career. He's probably a Hall of Famer, but he is so annoying. A complete quitter. Complete choke artist. He is as bad as can be in the playoffs. I've never seen a superstar perform as well as he has in the regular season, and then be as just pathetic as he's been in the playoffs throughout his career. And I'm sorry, but he's kind of a bitch. He's always complaining, always crying. He requests a trade every 30 minutes, it seems. How many times did he request a trade? He did it in Houston. He did it in Brooklyn. Now he's doing it in Philly. That's three straight teams. He's really annoying. Dale Morey is also annoying. I'm tired of these two. Morey is not that good of an executive. He's very overrated. He's the only thing he's done in his career. He had the one great move to get Harden in Houston. Other than that, he's never built a championship team. He's never even been to the final. He's never built a team that's gone to the final, and people act as he's the greatest GM ever. He's not. He's not that good of a GM. He's good enough to take a team that's kind of like stuck in mediocrity, get them back to the playoffs. But he's not building you a championship. He's just not. He's not that good of a GM. Tired of these two. Work something out and move on. These two drama taking up the league the last couple of offseasons, and it's very annoying. So looks like Cal and Stanford will not be joining the ACC. They need to get the certain amount of votes. Basically, if 3 teams, all the teams vote, like the heads of all the schools vote. Basically, if they need no more than 3 teams saying no for these things to be approved, and 4 teams said no. Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and North Carolina State. They all said no. So they could try. They could try and vote again. They could try and vote again, but that's unlikely. So it looks like Cal and Stanford will not join the ACC. So Pac-12 still at 4 teams for now, but by at least probably for the next year might have 0. All right, NFL news. We got preseason action just starting. We got Cade Johnson was carted off the field in Seattle's first preseason game. One of the young receiver. He's out of the hospital and is in concussion protocol. Looks like he's recovering fine. Kareem Hunt is visiting the Minnesota Vikings. So Kareem Hunt, he visited the Indianapolis. He visited the New Orleans Saints. Looking for a running back to dealing with some injuries. Alvin Kamara is suspended the first 3 games. There's a report that he had signed with them. A day later said, oh, no, he didn't sign yet. He's going to visit the Colts, who, are offering him more money. Of course, they were dealing with the whole Jonathan Taylor situation. We weren't sure if he would play for them at all this year. He wants to be traded. Colts still want to pay him. So we're going to bring him in. He left there without a deal. Now we went from, he signed with the Saints to, he's not. Because he's going to be signed with the Colts or offering more money. So now he's not signed with the Colts. Now he's visiting the Vikings. Maybe be looking for some depth behind Alexander Madison. Of course, cut Dalvin Cook earlier in the offseason. He's another running back, still a free agent. Jonathan Taylor has reported to training camp for the Indianapolis Colts. He reported to practice. He's still not actually practicing. He's still rehabbing the ankle injury from last year, but he has reported. The report came out a day or 2 ago that the head coach, Shane Steichen, said he expected them back at some point this week. Doesn't know when, but he reported today, but he's not practicing just because he's hurt. That's good news for the Colts. Couple injury news. Terrence Marshall, receiver for Carolina Panthers, was carted off, so we'll see what happens with him. J.K. Dobbins, the Ravens' young back, he was actually physically unable to perform the pup list, but still not reported. He apparently wants a contract extension, even though he's never played back-to-back healthy seasons, but that's on him. Kendra Miller, who's right now the Saints' number 2 back with Benjamin out for the year, and Alvin Kamara suspended the first 3 games. He has a sprained knee, and he sprained his knee in the preseason, but Saints do think he'll play week 1. Yeah, Zach Ertz, the Arizona Cardinals Pro Bowl tight end who had towards ACL last season, he was just cleared for NFL activities. He's expected to play week 1, so it's good news for Arizona. And Zach Martin, the Dallas Cowboys All-Pro offensive guard, who's been holding out because he thinks he's underpaid. He's only like the 8th highest paid guard, even though he's one of the 2 or 3 best in the league. Jerry Jones has been very adamant that he was not willing to extend them, but they came to a resolution. He'll make $36 million over the next 2 years. So he basically got a contract raise, not really an extension, but they basically gave him a decent raise. And something really shocking just came out. Actually, has nothing to do with really on the field. So Michael Oher, those who aren't familiar, he was a former NFL offensive tackle, had a great career. Which we thought was a great story. The movie The Blind Side, a very famous movie, great movie, all-time classic, one of the greatest football movies ever made. It won an Oscar. It's like 20 years ago it came out, starring Michael Oher, Sandra Bullock's in it. Great movie. But the story of Michael Oher, the whole story is, he grew up homeless. He never, and then this really rich family adopts him. Like this rich white family in Mississippi adopts him, and and they help him out, and they're big Ole Miss fans. He was going to go to Tennessee, who they absolutely hate. They end up convincing him to go to Ole Miss, and then he ends up going to Ole Miss. Being getting recruited there, go there 5-star, and going to the NFL. Had a great career. So Michael Oher just claimed he was never adopted when he was younger. The movie, one of the all-time great movies, one of the greatest sports movies ever made, that won an Oscar, made $300 million, was a lie. Ooh, the movie that we all love and watch. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. It's a phenomenal movie. Well, I mean, now, probably maybe don't, because apparently now it's not true, but I don't know. But that's up to you, I guess. It's a lie. Apparently, the family tricked him when he was like 17 or 18 years old to sign a conservatorship, which, if you're not familiar, that's so when you sign that, the family can make business decisions in your name. That's the whole thing that Britney Spears was in, the whole Free Britney thing a couple of years ago. And they tricked him into doing that, and they profited off this movie, and they made a lot because the movie made $300 million, and Michael Oher didn't make a single penny. So the whole story and the whole movie was fake, and he basically got screwed. It's a crazy story. We'll see where it goes, but very crazy story to come out today. A lot of crazy news coming out with the Wonder Franco, horrendous, just awful news. Hopefully that isn't true from Michael Oher. The James Harden popping off. I don't know what's going on. Lucas Glover wins the FedEx Open, his second straight win on tour. He's now 4th in the FedEx in the FedEx Cup standings. The next event is the BMW Championship, which starts this Thursday. It will be in Olympia Fields, Illinois, at the Olympia Fields Country Club. And then only other thing I have, I'm going to talk some wrestling, and then I have an announcement to make. So for our next match from this Friday, I'm going to go over it. We had Asuka versus Charlotte Flair. Of course, they had a triple threat match with Bianca Belair, and Asuka also a women's title to Bianca Belair. Asuka and Charlotte did the rematch, but Damage Control interfered in the match, so that ended in a no contest. AJ Styles versus Karrion Kross, which is a really good match. AJ Styles wins that one with a Styles Clash. Of course, what's her name? Karrion Kross' little friend. Scarlett tried to get involved, but thankfully Mia Yim was right there, and she beat the crap out of Scarlett, which allowed AJ Styles to win. And then Edge came out. Edge, this upcoming Friday, will celebrate 25 years in WWE in his hometown of Toronto. And he credited Sheamus for reinnovating his career. Sheamus has like this little pocket he does. It's called where he does all these cool little exercise stunts, and Edge helped him out. They went dirt bike riding, and from that moment, Edge realized, hey, I might be able to wrestle again. Of course, in 2011, he came out and he announced that he had to retire from wrestling because of recurring neck injury. Then 9 years later, of course, in the Royal Rumble feud, though, he has made his triumphant return. And then Sheamus came out, and they're going to have a match. First time ever, Ed versus Sheamus on SmackDown this upcoming Friday. And LA Nate beat Top Dollar. Top Dollar, I think, is an awful wrestler. That whole team, Hit Row, is major failure. They are awful. They can't wrestle. They're not that funny. They can't talk. LA Knight beat him, and he cut a little promo. And then United States Champion was supposed to be Austin Theory versus Santos Escobar. It's been in the works for weeks. Theory attacked Escobar backstage. I mean, he hurt his knee pretty bad. The doctor cleared him. He was still shaking up. He was basically limping his way to the ring when the match happened. Theory attacked him from behind again and hurt his knee, and to the point where Escobar was really hurt. He couldn't go. And Theory was like, oh, I guess I can't defend the title tonight. But then Rey Mysterio decided that he would step in. And Rey Mysterio defeated Austin Theory, becoming the new United States champion. And he embraced Santos Escobar after the match. So the very long U.S. title run for Austin Theory is over. It was a really good run. It was interesting to see where they go from here for him to turn him face, see what happens. But Rey Mysterio is now the United States champion, and Rey Mysterio has held a singles title at least once in the last 4 decades. The 90s, but 2000, 2010s, and now the 2020s. He just won the U.S. championship. And the bloodline drama continued. So first, obviously the whole ending to the Roman versus Jay match with Jimmy Uso turning on Jay. So Roman came in with Sol Sikoa and Paul Heyman. Then, Jimmy Uso shows up. Jay's music hits. Jay Uso shows up and he was like, what the heck's wrong with you? And Jimmy said, I did it because I loved you. If you were to become the tribal chief, you would turn to Roman Reigns and be manipulative and awful person. So Jay was thinking, what's going on? Then, Jay super kicked Roman, and Sikoa went after him. Then he super kicked Sikoa. Then Roman hit him with a Superman punch. He goes to spear him, and then Jimmy Uso was like the tail between his legs, like walking up the ramp. Jay dodged the spear, and then he hit Roman again for super kick, and then speared Roman Reigns. And then he also hit a super kick on Sol Sikoa. And then Jimmy Uso was up the top of the ramp, and Jay was at the bottom. He's like, he called Jimmy and said, hey, Jimmy, come here. They're going to embrace. But then Jimmy Uso super kicked his brother. So clearly he still pissed at Jimmy Uso. And then what he did was shocking. He screams into the camera, I'm out of the bloodline, and then out of the WWE, deuces, and then walks through the crowd. So he apparently quit WWE. On WWE's website, his gear and everything was moved to the alumni section of the website. So I don't know what's going on, if he quit or actually quit or not. But this one keeps getting better. This is very risky, I think, for the storyline. It's been going on for so long. It's either going to be, if he doesn't quit, it's going to be absolutely extraordinary, and this all-time great storyline will get even better. They're going to absolutely blow us away yet again, or it could be a really crappy finish. Only other thing I have to announce, I know I said I was hoping to do a fantasy football podcast this week. I'm going to push it. It's going to be Sunday this week. I'm going to have a guest on. The guest will be, watch the show, and you'll find out. But fantasy football style podcast with this Sunday, August 20th. Don't know the exact time yet. I will clarify that sometime this week. But that's all I got for you guys today. Until next time, so long. Have a great day.